Wagwan, good people. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights, your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Senna, and joining me today is...
What's up? It's your boy, Mr. Maps, Towel. Do what it do. I don't know how does Towel do. Yeah, that's my Towel impression.
Wow. So there's a certain way in which you kind of have to say it. So he's got this thing where it's like a part-time Ndebele / American accent.
Yeah.
It's stuck somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
It's lost in this abyss where it's like, so it's your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo, and and then it will go to Ndebele.
Yeah.
It's like you forget,
Yeah, I know.
Regular switch.
No, I'll get the hang of it later on, but
You'll get the hang of it.
Yes. It's me, Natasha, Nat. Yeah. When Senna calls, you answer.
Yes. When Senna says it's time, phakama ixesha lifikile, you know that you must phakama, the time is here. But anyways, Nat, thank you so much for joining us. I feel like you don't need like an introduction. I mean, this is like your second home now. Having you on the podcast is always a pleasure, especially when the other half of 6 Foot Weights, the 6 foot part of it, decides that it has better things to do than delivering the podcast to the bantu.
Well,
But asikho lapho.
Well, we're gonna wait for him to come back, but he has good reason.
No, sizamuzwa ukuthi
He has very
but
good reason. So yeah.
Okuhle ukuthi he can't peddle the propaganda ukuthi I'm the one who stops the podcast from going forward.
Is this what's happening?
As you can see.
So basically, you've decided to use this as the opportunity, as what he would say, the opportunity.
Opportunity. No, man. So what's actually funny is, so he over the last few weeks he's been alleging, rather indirectly, ukuthi the break that we took was because I went away on a trip with my significant other. So those were the accusations labeled at my feet. But you know why he hasn't been on.
Yes.
And I know why we went on a break. He'll clarify when he's back.
Yes.
And he'll tell the people them wagwan.
Yeah, and it's good reason. And actually, you know what? Like it is because you guys, I feel like when you've taken breaks, you've like taken 3 weeks or so. You've never really taken a really long stretch. And I don't know if you found this, like when you've taken a longer stretch than normal, that actually, not that it's difficult to get back into it, but the truth is, life, you already have so much that is going on, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Sometimes it's so hard to get back into the rhythm. And also you need the rest. Yeah. To be honest.
Yeah, no, you definitely do. So for example, I know with us, right? So Tabo does a lot of legwork as far as the podcast is concerned. So for him to find time to come back, do all the editing, and also still, live his life and answer to work requirements, home requirements, it's a lot. So when you take an extended break, 2 things can happen. You can get into the groove of, oh, okay, I don't have to think about the podcast for now, and then those around you can also get into, okay, Tuesday he's not recording, he's available.
Yeah.
He can help her around the house, and even your colleagues, because Tabo travels a lot as well. They'll be like, chief, let's do this, schedule a meeting or whatever, and that time, people can get used to what you stop recording, and then it can become a bit of a habit, and even harder to come back. So we are starting to come back, and we'll get more episodes set in. But this was the first time we've had to take a long stint that's not a Christmas.
Yes, yes. And like we said, there is very good, and I'm so excited for Tabo to come back and share with us why. And I also wanted to use this as an opportunity. Sorry. I'm going to do this American as an opportunity to say, oh, what it guys, because I see people always like, Friday, you guys, there's nothing. Yes, what time was saying, yeah, I'm on vacation, whatever. But I just want to say, let's appreciate the fact that these guys like consistently give us content on Friday. And if you are listening, guys, these things are never easy. It's time, it's production and all that stuff. So you guys know Uti Usena Lotabo, and because they're humble Ndebele men, right? They don't push this thing. But like they've got, support them, like share a podcast, share it on your Instagram, tweet. But I mean, all of that is nice. Yes, it's very nice, and some of you do it very, very well. But you do know that these guys have a Buy Me a Coffee page, right? So Buy Me a Coffee, for those of you who don't know or have listened to 6 Foot Weights and pretended to not understand that part and just skip to the Siyazama, right? So basically, Buy Me a Coffee is just your way of, like... I wanted to use like a tabo, shooting them some bail, right? Or whatever, like you can. So they have, it's Buy Me a Coffee /6 Foot Weights, and it's there's links even via their Twitter. Like literally, you can just buy them a coffee, buy 1, buy 2, buy 3, and then what that means is even when they come back, Konoku, like editing, all these things, software, like it costs money. And it also, it's not even about justifying the cost, right? It also just helps them feel encouraged, right? So imagine like if Tab was like, whoa, what all these Buy Me a Coffees, I better get back to the pod. Like, forget America. Like, I better get back to the pod. So guys, yeah, I'm pleading with you guys. I know some of you already do it. And I'm doing this because I know Tabo and Senna do not go on about this, They don't, they are very Ndebele very hi, as Funu was Fagabandu and all that stuff. Sorry, stand up before you speak. So I am going to make sure that I buy some coffee, right? So when you guys go on the page, you will see Uti Nat has bought maybe what. Listen, don't judge me on the amount. I'm in between blessings. But please, I want to challenge you guys to do the same. Like, let's encourage them, guys. Please.
Siyabong. Well, that's housekeeping done.
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
You know what? The funny thing is, I really appreciate it. But we've always said that this is for fun. More than anything, it's the one time in a week where I think we also get to catch up.
Yes.
And it's like a set call because life can get ahead of you, and the next thing that could be for 2 weeks. So we found that we speak a lot more often, maybe over the pod, and we record the conversations, and it's always nice. That people like to hear our thoughts and things. So that's cool. Thanks. That sounded like such an impassioned speech. I'll I might just snip it and use it for future purposes when my bank balance is running towards the red.
Yo, no. Listen. It's, and again, like you said, it's not about. It's just to express our thanks to you guys. Really, to be honest with you.
Awesome.
That's all it is. It's like people coming to your birthday party, eating and everything. One want to, like, someone is proper leaving and like, oh, did they forget to drop the gift? What is
what happened here? Funny story. I actually wanted to ask you something before we actually get into on regards to birthdays and stuff. Mm-hmm. If I invite you, Natasha, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Come through at XYZ restaurant. and then the bill comes, right?
Yeah.
I've always felt Uguti is the birthday person who is being spoiled, but it
Yes.
turns out Uguti historically it can be the other way around,
Yeah.
where it's like because I heard people complaining on Twitter, Uguti, you can't invite us to your birthday and then expect us to pay as well. What's the norm, the general accepted conduct?
So I think there's cultural things. So I always thought that if I'm inviting people, I'm inviting you, you come, you pay for your bit. I don't expect people to pay for me, but there's that little kind of like, normally, if you're the birthday person, at the end of the day, it's like at the end of the night, someone will be like, don't worry, we sorted you out. And you're like, oh, wow.
It's your day, right?
It's your day, right? And I think, and that's what I'm saying, I think it's a cultural thing, because I have attended in Nigeria. I don't want to maybe say it's all West Africans, but I definitely know that one time I attended a friend's 30th. He was turning 30. He's British but of Nigerian heritage, and then at the end of the night, I'm kind of like, there was like maybe 12 or so of us, 12, 15 of us.
Okay.
And then at the end, I'm like, Kanti, where can I pay? What? And he was like, no, don't worry, guys, I've sorted it out. I was like,
How?
Wait, what? Right? And I'm like, wait, what? And then, because he was a close friend of mine, so I was like, wait, but it's your birthday. He was like, no, because it's my birthday, and I've invited you guys. It's on me, right? And then I was like, whoa. And this is somebody who has come to, because when I was in my 20s, I used to do a lot of like birthday dinner, who had come to my birthday dinners, and I'm thinking, whoa, like, so what did you think?
So that whole time,
yeah,
you were like, Louie wants us to pay for her birthday.
Yeah, so I really think it's a cult. It comes back to the what was it? Was it Netherlands or Sweden? Was it Sweden where they don't give food to kids? Do you remember that story?
It was Sweden, where it's like, you get there, they don't feed you, you'll be strong.
Yeah, so it's really how you look at it, and I've noticed that with a lot of West African culture, it's like, we will sort you out, but I don't think the whole world should then subscribe to that. I mean, I feel like if it's your birthday, it's your day to be treated, right? And maybe I just think it's your day. Maybe the downside is when you organize something,
and then it ends up being a bit out of pocket for everyone. Then it's like, right, Chief Tina, we weren't planning on, champagne and caviar.
Exactly. So I just but I think all these things are down to communication, to be honest.
Yes.
But it's just like when people, oh God, like when people get married or people are getting married, and the costs that people incur. Like, say if they're like, be part of my bridal party. No, like if they say be part of my bridal party, and you're like, oh yeah, great. And then it'll be like, oh, I want you to wear this dress. Oh, cool. I'll wear whatever you want. Yeah, it's £200. Oh.
Okay, so if you're a bridesmaid, for example.
Yeah, and then you pay.
Scenarios, you go and make your own dress and make it happen.
No, but like the bride will say, this is how I want the day, but then a lot of bridesmaids end up paying out of pocket for everything. Dress, shoes, makeup, plus then remember you're paying for hen party. Those things are expensive.
It's a lot.
It's
a lot.
Yeah,
but you show up for your people, I guess.
Of course,
if you love them.
Of course you do.
And then obviously, you communicate if your pocket doesn't go as far as others go.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I was saying that it's we've got a lot to get through actually, but it's good to have you on the pod. We appreciate your time and your effort. Before we go into the set topics, we wanted to catch up on your life. What's been happening? What's new? How's everything been going? You were away for a while. Traveled for a bit. Abagabu, no dribbling stories. Everything alright? Is your peace protected? You know, it's been a few months since you've been on the pod.
The dribblers are always there, Senna. It's just how you avoid. Hey, it's just how you do. You remember the Matrix, like Mr. Smith and them, the way they were dodging the bullets.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
It is a constant battle. But no, I've been good. I had a really good summer. I think I mentioned it to you. So we haven't been on Galen Skies for a while. I was working on the Commonwealth Games, which were in the UK. So that was like July, August. So then I sort of like had to move to another city, to Birmingham. So I was doing that for a while. And that was a lot of work. And then came back, and it's just, it's just kind of getting back into it. And obviously, so we are kind of slowly getting back into it, but just kind of figuring out how things work, how you accommodate life, and all that sort of stuff. And I really want...
And the changes.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, I think we're at that point where I really want things to be fresh and... You know what I mean? Like, really, just come back, like, with fresh, like, really impactful. We're a little bit older, so it's kind of like, you want to be really impactful and thinking about what it is that you're doing. So that's kind of like the space that I'm in. But yeah, if people should check out, by the time this pod comes out, we'll have something on Galen Skies. So I had a chat with this guy, Prince Sivalo Mahlangu. Sorry, I'm doing a plug. The guy who does
no, go for it.
The guy who does Magriza Made Me Cook. I don't know if you've ever checked out.
I haven't checked that out. What's Magriza Made Me Cook?
Yeah, you need to check it out. So he does like food, culture. He's in Zim. And his content is just so good, like especially like for people who want to learn about culture, like learn about foods, just kind of like things that are basic but are really quite central to just our cultural identity. So I really enjoyed that conversation. So it's going to be live. So we're probably going to be doing more of those things, but probably need to figure out how to get back to the conversation bit. But it's just like juggling everything.
A lot.
Yeah. Yes.
But at least you're coming back, because we wanna sabona nya, as Amandebele would say.
I know, but
refresh Galen Skies.
I know.
End up thinking your internet is down.
But no. We want to, you want to come back with like impactful, like fresh things, because I think if you're just doing it for just doing it, I think people can hear it. But anyways, I mean, Senna, obviously, I don't know, you and I will have to announce when we're doing our own podcast, because I think this is where this is
because
headed.
at this point, at this juncture,
I think at this point, this is maybe where we're headed.
I mean, the signs are there. They're letting us down nicely.
So, it's one of those things, So as long as Lawa said that you don't do it, how? Wait. When you also like go off and I'll be like, Tom, what are you saying? But yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Come on, like we do like 2023 is coming up, so I do the politics, you do your IP, whatever.
And I'll go into the sports, and then we'll meet somewhere in the middle when it's now Mjolo topics, and yeah, but I can see it.
You can see the vision.
I can see the vision.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
what a wow.
Tabo, don't ban me from the pod, please.
You mentioned dodging dribblers. I'm unfortunately, Tabo wouldn't forgive me if I let you go on that one. Because I have firm instructions to interrogate.
Well, let me tell you something. No, because
welcome to the feelers court, by the way.
No. Like, absolutely no, because I got into trouble. So this is the podcast where I shared my B1, B2 bananas in pajamas story.
Yeah.
And do you know what, Yazzie, Senna, I think I sent you a message because so the person I was talking about sometimes listens to our pod, but they're not really like a podcast person. And I've mentioned you guys, right? Like I always like send whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I never got the impression that the person
would
like really listens, right? So which is why I came on here and I was wilding. And then hey, next thing I'm like, I think this was last year. It was that day. We're now cordial. We're now, at the time, the person I started doing CrossFit. The person had started sponsoring my CrossFit. I mean, what a fantastic space to be in.
Okay, that's nice.
I mean, like, nothing is happening, but someone is just always just like, here's CrossFit.
It's nice.
Money. Very nice, so I text and I'm like, oh, happy birthday. It was the person's birthday. Whatever. The person's like, oh, what did it? And then the person sends a screenshot. It's like, oh, let me listen to this. I was like, wait, because I didn't
mention any names or anything.
No, and the impression I get is this person's not like a social, like they don't use social media. They're not like into like our Twitter world. You know what I mean? They're not that person. So I'm like, wait a minute, and I'm thinking, oh, but I do talk about B1, B2 sort of like deep into the pod. So I'm hoping it's like 15, 20 minutes in, they'll stop listening and then forget to come back to it. I got a paragraph.
Oh.
I got a paragraph. Do you know when a man sends you a paragraph?
Yeah.
Hey! I got a paragraph. Yeah. Guys, do you know what? I honestly do not learn, because why am I saying this here? Do you know what? Stop me. Why am I saying
but I mean,
this?
So kwenzakele. I mean, it's out there. It's out there.
Yeah, so I learned from that time, and because it's one of those things that obviously there's people, because this was like a long-term relationship when we were young. It was like quite a solid, like everyone knew Natasha and this person. So I think according to them, they were kind of like, oh, a few people were hitting them up and saying, oh, so is this what happened to you guys?
Okay.
Yeah, because one of those things where people have always been like, but you guys, like, what happened?
What was the story?
Yeah, because like you seem to be the people literally got her to the aisle. Yeah. So I learned from. I said, yo,
never again.
And literally, I had to apologize. Do you know how humbling it is to apologize to a man? Oti, you know what? I'm
actually surprised because women generally don't apologize. No,
I mean, to be fair, I kind of I I understood what the person
Okay.
was saying, because they were saying ukuthi khona khona, it's one thing if we were not in contact at all.
Okay, but if we're still,
But because no, I mean, it's not like we talk every day or anything, because obviously there was no like relationship or rekindling or anything. But they
Yeah.
were kind of like, oh, but at least give me a heads up, ukuthi you mentioned this, or like the way they said it, I understood, because they were like, you know what? Yes, it's your story, but it's
Yeah.
my story too.
okay.
So, but then at the same time, I say to Uti, the honest truth is I don't regret saying it, because me saying it shows that I've healed from it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, but I didn't mind just kind of saying, but you know,
Yeah.
I understand,
Understand.
and for me, I was laughing at myself. You know what I mean? Like, I was self-deprecating, but you were so stupid, Natasha. You didn't.
Yeah,
you know.
it was like, you know, it was a funny story, right? I think it wasn't intended to, you know, come back and be like, my person, bad person, yeah, I'm so annoyed.
Yeah.
It was like, no, guys, listen, this is the funny thing that happened to me in my youth.
Yeah.
A Sleganini type of situation.
Yeah. So it's one of those
That's-
situations.
That's interesting. In the sense that, so for example, right, my girlfriend doesn't listen to the podcast.
Okay.
It's no, it's chilled, and I'm chilled about it, because I'll this is a platform where I come, I say whatever it is I say, and then, you know, it's anything that I say in public, I probably would not have an issue with anyone hearing, right? Be it her, be it my parents, be it my siblings, or, you know, even if my parents stumble across the podcast on some so type of thing. Like, I think that happened with Tabo. I think his dad stumbled across 6 foot weights, and then he started listening to it, and then it was like, and Tabo's got stories for days about his dad from like childhood. Like, hey, this man, what's when's and you know, because it's funny, but in as much as it's his dad's story too, it's like, guys, you know, let's just chat about something that happened to me when I was a kid. You know, it was like, this happened. I'm not in contact with any of my exes. But who probably doesn't see me in a very positive light, and she has a story to tell. I'm not sure if I'd get mad about it, because I mean, it's happened a couple of times where I've bumped into random people. Oh yeah, no, I heard about you from Ubanubani who said all these things. I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's her story. Like, that's how the person experienced it at the time. It's I kind of feel like it wouldn't be my place to now start jumping up and saying, hey, no, why are you talking about me? No, I mean, some things you just let them go, and I feel like men should have let it go. We laugh about it and we move.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, it's one of those things where you realize, it's not to kind of get deep, but that's why they always say healing is no one's responsibility but your own, even if something was done to you, right, or has impacted you. So you're the one in this situation, maybe me being the party that is, and obviously, you know, there's layers, nuances, you know, it takes two for a relationship, blah 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 blah, and there were other factors which I mentioned like distance and all that stuff, right? But then, because I think for me it's like something that it took like years, literally, right, to kind of, you know, almost really get over. But then I think for that person, they hadn't really, I think they knew what happened, they were there, but they hadn't heard it, or I think it just showed me maybe they were not as impacted as I. Do you know what I mean? When someone sometimes hurts you, they don't like, you know, that thing of like, oh, I'm going to show him, I'm going to, no, people live their lives. Like, nothing happens to them.
That is true. The whole thing of karma, right? Because you think if someone does me bad, something bad will happen to them as well.
Nope.
The circle of life, karma will catch them. No,
Absolutely
life
not.
moves on. The show goes on, and you'll be
Yep.
stuck as the only person who's on Diluetwa,
Yep.
and that's it.
Absolutely. Like so I think it was the first time maybe they'd heard, and other things had been unsaid, so it was like, huh? Like, what's going on?
I think
And
it
for
was
me,
taken by surprise.
yeah, and for me, because I laugh at myself a lot. Like, that's how I get over things. Whereas with them, people that private and all that kind of stuff. So you always have to be mindful because I'm private. Like, oh, okay, all right, Obama. Like, woo, yes, you're private, okay. Right.
Post umuntu kanti you've breached the privacy and data security laws.
Complicated. So I just shared that to sort of say, that's literally was the beginning of the end.
Lesson.
Yeah, and it was like, I think the person was just like, it's far too much trouble keeping it up with you that it's well. So now I am no CrossFit sponsor. I am just out here,
Now the stop order, the debit order is going off on your account.
Yes, every time, because it goes out the first of the month, you are just like, I pray it goes through.
Your debit order, that's worse than the gym debit order. Especially
that is the worst.
If you probably you've been banking or you haven't been going or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll still say we want our money.
Okay,
cool, Nat. No. On that topic actually, about who privacy and stories and all these things. There's something that I sent you earlier, and that I think we came across on Twitter. I'm sure most of you guys would have seen it, but it's a video of a Ugandan family. So they're sitting in a lounge, and what they're talking about, right? So it's a father who has been cheating on the mother, and the children have found out, and they're basically cussing him out on camera. So they're recording the whole thing. They're cussing him out. They're shouting at him. They're calling him. You should really. I'll see if we can plug it in.
You didn't want to do therapy.
That means you didn't want to fix. She want to save the marriage. How many times are you gonna go ahead, Dad? You're fucking ridiculous. Everyone's gonna see it. By the way.
Sit down now.
No, I'm not sitting down. I'm not sitting down, Dad. You should be ashamed. Dad, listen. How many fucking times are you gonna put my mom through the same fucking bullshit? Dad!
But it's a father who's been cheating on the mother. The children find out. So these children are probably I would say late teens to early 20s. And they're busy calling him all sorts of nonsense. You ain't shit. You fucked up. You're this. You're that. And I'm just there like, wow. So they're recording this and then they post it online. I think that's how it got out. And this man is just looking there. I think an African man, like patriarch, sitting there in his lounge. I think they're based in the States. So he's sitting there in his lounge and his children are shouting and he's just quiet. The commentary around that has been very, very mixed, right? To say the least. So on the one hand, you've got normalize embarrassing cheaters. Cheaters need to see the consequences of their actions. I support these children for doing this because now the father's embarrassed and he's humiliated, and now they can see and they know the implications or the consequences of their actions. Bloody blah, bloody blah, right? They're doing this while they're reading out his interactions and the text that he had with the other woman, right? The other side of it is a lot of Africans, especially men, were like, no, this is embarrassing. My kids can't talk to me like that. I don't care what's wrong. I don't care what's happening. You don't embarrass your father in that way. by recording, by shouting at him, blah 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 blah. I wanted to get your thoughts, Nat. What were your initial thoughts when you saw it, and in terms of like the reaction, etc.
Do you know what? So, I don't know how much time we have. Like,
We've got time.
So, okay. So my friend sent this to me. So my friend Vanessa sent this to me, and my initial, I'll be transparent. My initial reaction was kiki. Well, I didn't say kiki because I'm,
Yeah.
you know, but I like laughing, like, and so but I didn't want, because it's a 5-minute video.
Yes.
I just heard, you know, like the beginning, like, oh, the children were reading out some of the text, and it looks like this guy had a whole rotation. It wasn't just one woman. It was quite a few sexting and everything, right?
Yeah, apparently it wasn't the first time he was doing this.
Of course not. Of course. And then when you resent it to me to say we're going to talk about this, I actually watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I think two things for me kind of jumped out. One was I questioned my initial reaction, right? Because I was like, why am I so, like, we know so good that I'm laughing? Do you know, like, why was my first reaction? Like, am I so broken that, like, I literally have no faith in men? No, literally, because my thing is, like, there's very little that men do that surprises me. Honestly, that is my just default.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's a man, of course. Like, I'm just like, men are not good people. Like, I'm like, literally. But then I had to question myself, and I think part of this is influence from, you know, like, so, you know, we I don't know where did we talk about, which we've had many conversations, but
yeah.
This whole indoda mast psyche,
we spoke about
right?
it on our last recording, yeah.
Yeah, and also like there's stuff that has been normalized within our communities, and I just don't know whether is it social media that's driving it, where we've literally normalized things that are not okay. You know, the side chick culture, small house culture. You know, it's like just, and it's been a subtle thing. Things that before used to shock us don't shock us anymore. And
yeah, we have cool terms for it now, right? So we call it blesser culture. When back in the day it was like, you have a man that gives you money, and all the men, okay, whatever, fine. You know, now it's different, right? And now umuntu can have side chicks as a cool term, whereas back in the day it's like, you're having an affair, you are committing adultery, it was shamed upon. Now it's different, right? I think life has moved in a different direction.
Yeah, and then there's now slay queens. You know, like it's a whole transaction. People are being flown out to, you know, Slovakia and all parts of the world, you know, just literally just to just like for rounds.
Yeah.
And go, like, and you're just like, whoa, like what is wrong, right? So there's that. And then when I rewatched it, like, and I literally was like, no, guys, the hurt in those kids' voices.
Yes.
Oh, of course, yes, we can argue about should they have posted it. I mean, I don't know how it got on the internet and like the whole thing, but you know, like, there was the person who's recording it, right? And then it sounded like someone else who was sort of like next to the person recording it. And this other person was the one who was sort of like ad-libbing and really impassioned, and was the one who was like, Dad, you really effed up.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, like, and then when I listened to it, right, then someone said, because they were kind of trying to sort of say to this person, no, chill, right? But other people were like, no, she has the right to feel how she feels, right? And I think she was kind of like, oh, I'm going to beat you up or something, right? And then someone made a comment, was like, no, you know, like, she loves you so much. Like, she's probably like the daddy's girl, like, what? Like, she's so hurt. Like, that's why she's reacting that way. And when I heard that hurt, and I just thought to myself, no, guys, you know, like, when we're younger, things are black and white.
Yes.
And you're so clear about right versus wrong, right? And as you get older, you start to see the shades of gray. And there's nothing wrong with seeing the shades of gray. And I mean, a lot of us, you know, we've started out journeys where you know what's right or wrong, and then you start seeing the shades of gray, and you never choose right, wrong, right? But when you think about it, you're like, man, if there's a way we could keep that childlike sense of values, so much, you know, discipline. I always say this, discipline is one of the greatest commodities that particularly men can have, because it impacts the course of your life, right? Like, just being disciplined, and I say that particularly for men, because I think they fall into a lot of temptation, which, no, you know, it may not be apparent, but then you look 10, 20, 30 years from now, someone's resources have depleted or whatever, right? Just because they didn't discipline themselves and just focus on, you know, focus on one woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Focus on one woman, build, which is maybe what this man was trying to do. And he thought he could, you know, but then his kids now have seen this. And then another thing, and then I'll stop. Another sad thing about this situation, Anj, is konokuguti, because people were like, I wonder what the dad is saying. So I remember, there's this guy called Charlemagne the God who does the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And he always talks about how he discovered that his father was having an affair with another woman in their neighborhood in South Carolina, right?
Yeah. And
he's like, at the time, like, his mom was distraught, but he discovered, and he was like young, he was like 17, 18. He's like, he confronted his dad, right? On some, like, what are you doing to my mom? And then he's like, his dad was just calm, looked at him and said, you're going to grow up. Come back to me when you've grown up. Right? And he was like, what is he talking about? And then Charlemagne always says, for sure I grew up and I saw all these beautiful women. And he's like, I forgave my dad without even telling him, because I was like, worse for him, like, he had money and all that. So what I think is sad is that these children are hurt, but unfortunately someone is going to repeat what they've seen from their dad, from those kids, unfortunately.
They're going to grow up, and then all of a sudden black and white will become shades of grey. And then all of a sudden what was right and wrong will be like, actually life is not that simple, it's not that easy, bloody blah, bloody blah, bloody blah. I agree with you 100%. And just to add on, so the part that you said you wanted to debate about, so the whole posting about it and recording it to almost shame the father, that to me indicated how they see it now, right? It's black and white. There's no turning back. He's done wrong, he must be shamed for it. With infidelity, the funniest thing is that mother, let's say in a year, maybe not now, but in a year's time, she might actually forgive the father, right? But unfortunately, what's happened is this has put their whole family into like a spotlight, where it becomes difficult, even if the mother wants to forgive, to actually go back and say, let's actually fix our marriage, let's work on things, or let's work things out. Tabo always says that you'll find that people are more willing to forgive cheating more than you realize. The only reason they don't is because of abantu bazothini, right? Especially for guys. So if as a guy you get cheated on, even if you think about okay, maybe I'm over it, if that person comes back and says, hey, I'm sorry, let's try again, there's also the added, on top of the hurt, which you may or may not have gotten over, there's also the but what will people say? And
yeah,
I feel like with their whole family now being in the spotlight like that, the mother might be more hesitant, if she was ever willing to fix things. It might even damage their whole relationship as a family in that regard. I wasn't, so I'm like, don't condone what the father did, but like, I think the way they've gone about it in this instance is a bit unfortunate, because it doesn't create an environment that's conducive of healing, right? So now it's like we're fighting. Someone must, because he's trash, someone must pack their things and leave. But anyways, it's unfortunate. And you know what you said, probably a lot of people go through that, where they find out that parent X is being unfaithful to parent Y, and you're kind of stuck in the middle and you don't know what to do as a child. I can't imagine that's a very comfortable place to be in, especially if you're an adult, or you're like late teen, early adulthood, or even a grown person. It can't be easy.
No, it's not. And I agree with you. It's unfortunate that it's on the internet, but at the same time, it just shows you that parents do have a responsibility to their children.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because this wouldn't have happened if all of this didn't happen.
Yes.
So the raw emotions that they're feeling, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. And actually because they're young, I think their view hasn't been tainted by the world. And that is, they probably are right, because the home is supposed to be a place of safety, and all that sort of stuff. This thing is about growing up. Labo, when they get older, they will probably look back and be like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't have put that on the internet. And the other thing, I think the mom, I kind of heard her Ingani saying, oh, this started this is not the first time.
Yeah,
she knows
it,
like she's been knowing, right? Maybe she's just thought to herself,
I'm tired,
wait till the youngest is in college. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't know. And some people, and I have a very unpopular opinion about this, and this comes from like someone like Wendy Williams, and I've also noticed it, Nje, a few examples that I know. Some people just cannot do life on their own. So you see that some people say if they divorce, they go on, they thrive, whatever, right? But some people, after everybody has told them to leave, and then they leave, and everyone's like, oh, fantastic, you go, girl.
Be done.
And then afterwards, they literally, because they, especially maybe people who've been married from young or whatever, like, it takes a certain level of strength to really be on your own. Like, this life is not easy. It takes a level of strength to be on, and some people honestly just don't have that strength.
Yeah, that is
and
true.
Some people would, yeah. So like I'm saying, I'm giving an example of like Wendy Williams. If people know her story, whatever, she literally down spiraled so much after her divorce, and I really believe that is because her husband had a hand in making her stable. So these things are never easy. It's not
black or white. It's not straightforward.
No, it's not. Absolutely not.
Sure, man. I hope as a family they can move on from that and get through it. It's obviously not like a nice a nice situation to be in. Speaking of meltdowns, actually, have you been following Kanye West's whole situation?
Oh God. Yeah. Uganye. Kanye. Man, this guy is just Kanye West is not well.
Yeah.
Kanye West is not well. He and I was listening to someone was just saying, like, he's just acting like one of those people, like he's clearly having an episode, and people always use the fact that, oh, Kanye hasn't been the same since he lost his mom. I'm not being funny, many people have lost their moms.
Yeah.
And not that I'm saying it doesn't impact you, but it really, really does. But maybe he hasn't had the help that he needs.
Yeah.
And I am a Kanye West fan. When I tell you I'm a Kanye West fan, I love Kanye West. I love his music. Like, even Karis, when his documentary came out on Netflix, I was like, oh, Kanye is a genius. Oh yeah, I love, yeah. Like, it's just now where I've kind of like, I'm like, oh, come on, like, yeah. Kanye, like the comment he made about George Floyd, and then afterwards where he's like, oh, these deals being put away from me, now I know how it feels like to have a knee on my neck. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It almost feels like he wants to be outrageous. So it almost feels like he's always wanted to be outrageous. So I see it like from slavery was a choice to some of the clothes that he's been putting out on the market. It's never, it's never anything subtle or anything that's it's out there. It's wow. It gets people talking, and I think he's always been that personality. Add that to whatever he's going through mentally and his health issues, I think that's probably taken him over the edge, and I don't think he is well. But what's funny is now all the big brands, Adidas, Balenciaga, all of them are now like, no, we're withdrawing support because of his comments about the Jews. And I'm like, oh, come on, you guys. When slavery was a choice was a pretty outrageous statement to make, and none of them got black people are outraged online. Like, black people I know on Twitter, there was a whole thing where we're like, I don't like this guy, this isn't right, it's not cool, it's whatever. Like, black people were tired. But none of the big brands dropped him back then, when it was like slavery as a choice. But I guess that speaks to that we don't have that kind of influence. But now all of a sudden everyone is dropping him left, right and center so quickly, so fast. It's insane.
We don't have the structural power.
Yeah.
We don't have the structural power. We don't hold, we don't really own things. And also, I think black people, sometimes we don't take ourselves seriously. Right?
That's true.
Because there'll always be people who be like, no, Ye is a genius. You don't understand.
This is all intentional.
Blah, 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 blah. Exactly. And they will laugh, and they'll continue buying his products. They will continue doing all of those things. Lati will go on vacations on Instagram. Maybe you see her saying, good morning. Ooh. So I think, but I get your point. But it's listen, me, even when I see comments where it's like, oh, auntie, whatever, I'm not even me with nothing. I don't even comment or interact, because I'm like, yo, one day was at your social media, right? This happened, right? And I'm like, I don't
stay away from controversial. Stay away from controversial topics. And it's always so tempting. Sometimes people's opinions will bait you.
Yeah.
Like, nowadays, the only thing I argue passionately about is football. That I have time for it on Twitter. But local gunya, because someone is watching just to see, okay, what's your opinion on this issue here? Do you think Kanye West should continue to be streamed or not? Whatever you say, someone's gonna hold it against you at some point, at some place, somehow.
And I like being employed.
It's quite nice.
I really enjoy it.
It's a really reassuring. It's a reassuring feeling.
So it's, but again, like, it's not black and white, because like you're saying, he's said so many outrageous things.
He has.
And there is a part of him that is kind of funny. So that's the annoying thing about Kanye West.
Where he's like, oh, what's the next ridiculous thing he's going to say? It's like, I watched his interview with Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
And the whole time, you know, he says something and you're like, that's actually pretty funny. Some of it you actually laugh and be like, that's actually quite true. Obviously, it's you know, you have to take a lot of things with a pinch of salt with Kanye. You never know where it's coming from. You never know what the motive is, if there is a motive, if he's okay, what state he's in. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, when I used to defend Kanye West, I used to always say what I admired about him was I felt like he was a free man. And I think I've seen people talk about this whole free thought, because I'm just like, but at the same time, there's consequences to that, right? But I was just like, you know what, like, so many of us just aren't too free to just be, even in public, to just say what it is that we're thinking. There's so much that is you know, so many considerations, but I just always was like, man, Kanye just says what he
just says whatever he thinks and whatever he feels.
I'm like, wow, like that's freedom, but with freedom comes great responsibility too.
But now I think you can see that the freedom actually has limits, with all the brands now saying nope. So there's not an unlimited freedom to say whatever he wants to say. But anyways, moving right along, another story that was in the news sort of this week, Elon moved into the Twitter offices. He's taken ownership of Twitter officially. I have a few thoughts on this, but he wants to, you know, the verified checkered mark thingy, that whole thing. He wants to make it such that anyone can pay $8 a month, and in 30 days you're verified, right? Obviously, from a lot of celebrities, this drew a lot of criticism. It drew a lot of outrage, in the sense that a lot of people are like, no, man, if I have to pay for a verification, how do I know that someone is not going to pay for a verification? Then all of a sudden she goes by the name of Nat at Malaika Diva with the checkered mark. How will I know that that's the real Nat just because they've paid the $8? How's that going to work? What did you think about it? Do you think people are overreacting, or they have like grounds to be upset about, you know, the way Twitter is changing?
No, I don't think people are overreacting, because I also think, you know, from what I've seen, like, Elon is very Donald Trump-like that he just tweets out things, right? And I haven't seen anything maybe from like the Twitter official account where it kind of gives the rationale, and it sort of explains how it would work. Yes. So I don't think people are being I think that there's a point to be made. I mean, although I do understand that Twitter has always struggled with the whole being sustainable, being profitable, like its share price, and all that stuff. It's just been a source of contention, which is why now we're seeing more ads, you know, even like when you're replying in comments, like there's ads that keep coming up, there's more promoted tweets, because that's one way that they're trying to get their revenue stream up. So I can understand them introducing that, because again, we used to be tweeting at Jack why is this app free? I ain't deleting this app. I cannot believe that this app is free. What?
Now we've got
this
someone who wants
wild.
us to pay for it.
Exactly. So I think there is probably room for this $8 a month thing. But then there's other considerations, which is, what happens to independent journalists. So I'm thinking, even if we bring it closer to home, someone like, let me check if their account is verified actually. So someone like Zenzele, for example, right, who does a lot of work and spotlight on, Matabeleland issues. Okay, no, Zenzele's account is not verified, but you know what? Like he does a lot on like Kukura Undi, whatever. So he's a local journalist. I think Hopel is verified as examples, right? He's a local journalist who, I mean, I don't know his pockets, right? But if you're in Zim, $8 a month, I mean, is a cost that you probably can do without, So what happens to those people that are, independent, small-time journalists that people are relying for information, that are based in, really hostile countries, and they provide a source of information? Because if that verification is taken away from them, then other people can set up accounts and then spread misinformation. So I think that's a real thing about, there's some people who are verified not because they are famous or have money, but because they are impactful. So it's the impact versus Ashanti, right? I can afford to pay $8 a month for who I am, or I'm Beyonce or whatever, right? So I think they need to maybe consider that model, and then maybe but the other thing is probably going to impact the kind of C-list downwards kind of fame people, because if I'm a Beyonce, I can be like, I don't care. You don't need to verify me, but if I'm Twitter, I want Beyonce to be verified.
Yes, and you want to be the Beyonce real on my platform. Beyonce on the platform, because those people drive up engagements, right? Yeah. I want Jay-Z to be verified, even though Jay-Z tweets once a year, but when he does, it causes a big storm. Like, he'll tweet one thing, be like, whatever, Jay Electronica, and then everyone is now talking about, Jay, Jay, what do you think about what Jay? And it's conversation for like a whole 2 weeks. So I'm not totally against the $8. There's probably rationale for it, but there needs to be categories, I think. Yes. Okay. I don't mind people having to pay sort of the $8 or whatever, but my understanding is on top of that, probably the requirements for verification would still stand. So I think to be verified on Twitter, you have to submit, or if you had to request to be verified, you had to submit like a copy of your passport or a couple of other things to prove that it's actually you. So I don't think that'll be affected in terms of like the authenticity of identifying people. What I hope it helps with is bots and Twitter bullies that come from like anonymous accounts, because I think we see it a lot, especially when it's election season. In Zim, we all know ruling party will have bots, other parties will also have their bots, and then you actually find yourself talking online with anonymous people in quotes that have no name, no whatever, no form of identification, and they'll be slurring insults and whatevers and what have yous and all these things. So I hope it helps with that. And then obviously with stan culture is another one that I hope also takes a bit of a knock, because you've got all these anonymous. I don't know how many Nicki Minaj and Beyonce accounts I see on a daily. Like, these are people who are talking to each other in comment sections with profile picture Nicki Minaj, and there's all different spin-offs of the name. and they're all bullying other people online. So I hope to see a time when bots get off the platform. I'm not as vexed about the whole $8 verification thing as much as celebrities would, because I think Elon wouldn't roll that out unless there are controls in place that would make sure that the integrity of the process is still the same. Hey, hopefully it doesn't become a racist platform, which is what I fear with the whole freedom of speech. I see that happening to some extent.
Yeah. I was laughing there when you're talking about Beyonce stans. Because literally that's why I joined Twitter.
Really? Were you part of the Hive?
2009? Oh! So that's why my username is Malaika Diva. So at the time, Beyonce had a song called Diva.
Oh, yes.
I'm a diva. So like a lot of people who are like Beyonce stans would be like diva or whatever fierce.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So now were you also attacking people online?
Yes, I was blocked by Keisha Cole. I was blocked by who else blocked me? The Game. I was blocked by.
How, Natasha? I didn't know that this
No,
was you
I
in
wasn't
your
blocked
past
by
life.
Carrie Hilson.
I can believe that.
Listen, I had time. If you say something, what? and we all knew each other, and we all would follow even the dancers and everything. like Ashley Everett, who's like one of Beyonce's chief dancers. So it was like a community. So like they kind of like knew us.
So you're the reason. You're the reason Carrie Hilson has no career in 2022.
Listen, it was like, yeah, when Carrie Hilson came up with that song and she made that shady comment, go sit down. So, we were on her. And then Keisha Cole, she made some comment about, listen, can you hear how passionate I am like 10 years later? Imagine at the time. Keisha Cole made some comment about, so when Beyonce came off the song, when she's like, bow down,
Yeah.
Right? Which was kind of different for Beyonce, right? And she'd used the chop and screw, this whole like southern thing, like where they chop screw the voices, jan. So people were kind of coming out like, oh, but Beyonce, she's all about women empowerment and acting like a lady. But now she's telling women to like bow down, whatever. We were like, Keisha, man, like,
that was the end.
Look after your family, like just focus on yourself.
So now you're one of those. But
I used to be. I literally found a way to scrub my old tweets recently.
How do you do that?
There's some app where you go.
Really?
I need to check if but yeah, my whole thing was Beyonce. Then I kind of went off Twitter. I literally just used to go and like it's fun if maybe you're watching shows or whatever.
Yeah.
Tweeting. But that was the only community I knew. Then I went off. Then I came back to Twitter around about this flag time. 2016. Yeah, 2016. So that's where I kind of, I chilled down a little bit. Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is the real me. We don't know. Do we know? We don't know. So that's when I kind of like, and then started discovering Zimbabweans, and then discovered Ndebele. Then that's when I remembered, I'm Ndebele, by the way. I'm not British. I'm British. I think people go through that journey. Like a topic for another day. Where literally people who know me maybe 15 years from now are like so surprised that I'm proper into Zim things. They're like
back then you probably weren't within.
No, and probably I did my best to act like a proper Black British because I was young and those were my friends. I wanted to fit in.
100%.
So, yeah.
And that's probably you become more patriotic probably as you get older. Although I have very long views about patriotism, which we don't have time for today. Very strong opinions about patriotism, but no, Nat, I wonder what the future of Twitter holds. Whether or not you'll revert back to stand Twitter Asazi.
No, with these bills, when you get older, you have no time to be worshipping another individual. I will.
It can't.
Not with these bills. Hell no.
But no, what I'll say about Beyonce stands. Well, I'm not sure if I should say you guys or they.
They. I'm retired.
It's the commitment and the focus. Like anything like that has. I remember. I think I once tweeted something which had Beyonce's name on. I think it was after Coachella. I've forgotten what I said. But it was right about that time where people were saying she's the greatest entertainer of all time, and I was like, Michael Jackson. Maybe let's not go that far or whatever, right? Yay! All these accounts that have Beyonce Avies, like literally, like I get people disagreeing with you because it happens all the time, right? So you expect it online. Like I expected disagree. I didn't expect that level of disagreement. It's like, what do they call us? Not the like anyone who's a Michael Jackson. They're like the Hee Hees are out here again. I was like,
oh my god, not the Hee Hees.
Yeah, the Hee Hees. I was like, okay. I went back to my little corner where I talk about law and football, and I was like, right, this I see. Then the last time I got dragged was when I did an IP Thursday about Nicki Minaj and Tracy Chapman. I think, I had to turn off comments.
The Bobs.
Yeah, I know. I turned off comments because what was it? It was that whole copyright case where she stole a song and then Tracy wouldn't clear it, and then she was found to have been likely copyright infringing. Yay! Yeah. The quoted tweets. That's when I was like, right, this here is a very toxic fan base, or very toxic.
Let me tell you, just quickly, the Bobs once came for me, and I had to lock my account and change my profile picture. That's when I knew not to mess with the. I don't know what I said. Like, because I'm a late Nicki fan. Like, I appreciate her now. Like, I think she's so good. But I think sometimes her personality, whatever. I don't know whether it was something to do with it, but it was long back. It was about this whole Little Kim, whatever. And I say something like, someone was like, and it was back in the day where it wasn't like quote tweet like now, but it was like you retweet or whatever. It was, and someone was like, not with the face like that, child. Do you know the retweets? That was the people were like, yo.
That is so sad.
Listen, I literally changed I removed my, and I thought it was a nice picture that I had at the time. I took it down. I put like a picture of a bird. I locked my. I don't even know if you could lock accounts then or whatever, but I know I changed. Do you know when you're like, whoa, and then when people are agreeing, like she got the nerve to be saying anything about the queen.
Yo.
Yo.
No, it was. I can imagine how toxic it was. Shame, man. I'm so sorry. That's so sad.
And it's one of those things you can't even tell anyone. It's like, because you're just like, what? Okay, let me change my thing. Let me not engage with it. Another one more thing. Another. You went to UCT Center, right?
I went to Wits.
You went to Wits, right?
Yeah.
Woo! I want to say something about UCT. Let me tell you.
They came.
I forget what I said, but it was something. To be honest, I was being a bit
shady,
cheeky, right?
Okay.
And maybe something about what's special about UCT. Oh no, it was this whole people from UCT put in their bio UCT,
UCT
alumni,
alumni.
or UCT whatever. So I was kind of like, huh? Like what? You know, at first you get the friendly like kikikis.
Yeah.
Hey. Then the
Wababona.
tweet went to the heart of UCT.
Yeah.
You know, then they start, and you're just there. And it was one of those. It was not too long ago. So you know, you have people who know you who are like, no, that's not what she meant. And you know, you don't want to be. You don't want to you want to stand firm. You don't want to delete.
You don't want to fold.
2 days I tweeted Bible verses. I tweeted
that video, you know that video? And then that guy's like, damn, I'm being cooked.
I was being fried, grilled, cooked, proper. You know, like I started tweeting about Spain and Catalonia. You know, like where you try to sound intelligent, talking about world issues. I was being cooked, and then I finally deleted after 2 days. It was such an hectic. It was a hectic. And the thing is, you know, when you know that there's mutuals who want to drag you,
but they won't.
But because you kind of have credit with them, they can't. Right? But you see that they're liking people that are dragging you.
That's always the funniest thing.
Time. Woo. Yeah, that was something else, man. That was intense.
Yeah. So the UCT, the South African university context is very elitist. So there's your predominant or historically white universities, right? So there's UCT, Stellenbosch, UP, Wits, I'd put Rhodes, UJ, and maybe even UKZN there, that are seen as, if I missed one, please just throw it in, that are seen as like elite and the best around, right? Of which UCT has constantly been ranked number 1 in the world. From time to time, you'll get a ranking that'll say Wits is the first, and you get one that'll say UP is the first, you get one that'll say Stellenbosch is the first. But it's generally accepted that UCT is the top, right? Everyone wants to go there, not everyone goes there. Unfortunately, what can then happen is once you start questioning the institution itself, those who go there and who went there feel like, because for some people getting into UCT is like a big achievement, right? It's like,
of course,
oh my gosh, like this is it, like I can't believe it, and it's not an easy university to get into, so big ups to them. But then once you start coming for the institution, then it's like you're downplaying a lot of the things they've achieved, rightfully so, which you know they worked so hard for, which they wear as a badge of honor, and it's like, oh, I went to UCT, I went to Wits, I went to this, I went to that. And once you start saying, actually, no, it's not a good institution, or it's overrated, I don't see the hype. Yay. Yeah. But that's the one time, the Nicki Minaj time, back to that was the one time I have ever muted a tweet. Just because, what else was I being called? I was called...
not the Hee Hees. Sorry, that's too funny.
No, that was the Michael Jackson tweet. Yeah, that was the first. It didn't go big like the Nicki one did. Once the Barbies got hold of that one, I even got DMs, by the way, of people with paragraphs saying you can't come for an innocent woman like this. She hasn't even been found guilty. Like, I didn't even reply to it, I think. But there was just a whole lot in the quote saying, hey, you people cape for... They've even dragging Tracy Chapman. I'm like, how? What doing with Tracy? She didn't do anything. They're calling her washed and all these things. And
oh my gosh.
And, okay.
No, the Bobs are unhinged. And because they are very young, most of them. And also because Nicki Minaj Wankona, she doesn't stop them. She gives dog whistles. Like... when things like that happen, like, so Nicki's personality, I think she's actually like not great in terms of like, you know, like with Beyonce, for example. See, I'm still standing for Beyonce. With Beyonce, like people go wild, but Beyonce will just be like cool. Do you know what I mean? Like I remember there's a time Beyonce spoke to us. I'm saying spoke to us, but she was like to the Hive. She was like, chill, guys.
The leader addressed you.
Yeah, she addressed us and she was like, chill. Like, guys, please chill. Right?
I always hear that. How did she say it? Did she send all of you a memo? Did she put out a tweet? How did it happen?
So she normally does it through her not PA, the PR person, a lady called Yvette. Yvette Noel Show. So all of us in the Hive follow the key people. So she speaks through like Yvette, she speaks through her mom, and then like sometimes she'll subtly put things on her website.
Okay.
Right. Or that, like, or sometimes, you know, when she sends us message, when she posts, she's like, "Oh, Beyhive, I love you deep. I love like, how you go hard for me."
This is like intel, as someone who has always been curious about how the Beyhive actually functions. No, because I've always been curious, like how does it work? Like, you know, like constitution gulani. How do you guys get addressed? Seven Sanjani. But
yeah, because. So actually at the beginning, Beyonce put out her, like, I think Beyhive was like an organic term, that sort of happened. And then there was a thing where, like, you know, Beyonce did a whole thing where it's like there's different levels of Beyhive.
Okay.
Like, so there's the queen, there's the... It's a whole thing. So you listen through her key people, or even through, she's got a cousin tongue, Angie Bayens, because that's where she gets her name. Her name is from her mom's maiden name, whatever. So they talk through those people who be like, guys, just chill, calm down, you know. And then the latter will be like, okay, cool, we'll chill.
So after
it's a whole thing.
After the PR person said that, do you guys chill?
Yeah, and a lot of us have now grown up. That's what I'm saying. So I think the new younger Beyonce fans, I don't think they're as like her, because also Beyonce is not that way. She's not on social media like that, right? Whereas, like I'm saying, Nicki is literally going on Instagram lives. She's like, oh, Bobs, and then she'll sneakily like comments, you know, maybe that are like dissing other people. So for those young people, you know, you want Nicki to follow you, so you're gonna like keep going hard for her. But I think a lot of us Beyonce fans, we've matured with her, you know.
Okay. No, I see. No, ngiyabona. Life inside the Beyhive. Oh. No.
Once a Beyhive, always a Beyhive.
Once a Beyhive, always a Beyhive. I guess I'll identify as a Hee Hees going forward.
That is funny. That's actually funny.
But anyways, Nat, thank you so much for joining us. We're ran out of time, but really appreciate you coming through as our unofficial member of 6 Foot Weights. We appreciate it. Really, we don't take it for granted.
Yes. No, and thank you for having me, man. I enjoy you guys, and I can't wait for Tawa to come back and to, you know, share with the people them. So yeah.
No, of course. Appreciate it. Everyone, this has been an episode of 6 Foot Weights. Retweet the ting, like the ting, subscribe to the ting, and if you don't, we're inclined to believe that you are a hater.
Yes.
Check you later.
Thank you.